Does Rutland have an enormous lake?
It does.
And
It does.
is it
Fresh
also
water.
Europe's largest inland freshwater lake?
I think that's what they say, yes.
Ian,
It is pretty impressive.
What else do you know about this small county?
This is...
Oh, very famous cheese, Stilton from Marbury and the Marbury pie.
Oh my God,
And it's
you've got
just
it
very
all.
lovely.
You've got it all. And Land's End as well.
And Land's End, of course.
Okay, so I suppose we should be serious now. So we'll do a straight in, welcome to the studio, that kind of stuff. And here we go. Hey, welcome back to the digital studio. The pandemic is ticking on, and we're getting to the swing of this remote stuff now. So from various corners of the world, welcome. Jamie, which corner of the world are you in today?
Hi, Ian. I'm from the People's Republic of Hampshire today.
Wow. Okay, well, let's skip to another county. Constance, hello, how are you?
I am very well. Thank you for having me, Ian.
No, not at all. And you're joining us, I think, from Rutland. Is that where your headquarters is?
This is correct. This is where Land's End headquarters are based and have always been based.
Lovely. Well, look, you've given it away. I was going to see how long it took people to work out who's got a headquarters in Rutland. And now you've given it away. Land's End. Constance, you are the European CEO, so it's a great pleasure to have you in the studio with us. Now, just in case there isn't anybody whose thoughts aren't turning to fleeces as the autumn comes in, tell us about Land's End, because it's a brand I remember from my sort of childhood. But just for our Gen Z listeners, tell us about Land's End.
Land's End has been founded in 1963 and is a American heritage brand. Our founder, Gary Comer, based the business out of Chicago. He was a passionate professional sailor. He started the business in context of sailing just to evolve it very soon into a much broader apparel range, because this is what resonated very well with the customers. And this is also where our current positioning has been founded, as in let's get comfy, because from the beginning, the company has always been about comfortable clothing. And when I say comfortable, it's much broader and much more than just, putting a piece of clothing that you would call comfortable. It is all about quality in fabric, in production. It is about versatility and functionality of the product. It is about the one wardrobe, versatility of using one piece of clothing in many different ways, from style down to style up. It is a lot about sustainability and has always been now much broader into inclusiveness. Fit is very important in that sense, and this manifests itself in our plus range in particular, where we do not only take the measurements from a regular and manufacture it in a larger item, but we take measurements in all of our individual plus sizes, because the body shape is evolving, is altering in the very different sizes. So we take measurement, we have models, we don't just take one as a cookie cutter approach for everything. That is very, very important to make sure that comfort is really felt in every item. Same with the functionality. All our items, we are famous for having pockets in all our items. So whoever I talk to is like, oh my God.
So you're talking about comfy pockets. I mean, people are smiling all over the place. Now, when I first came across Land's End, I think it must have been the back of newspapers, Sunday supplements back in the last century. There was a sort of a wave of American, let's call it comfort wear. I don't really know what the name is. It's sort of outdoorsy, sort of fleecy, sort of, dare I say, older person. And there was there was Orvis, there were Columbia, a number of brands that catered to that sort of outdoor, casual, but functional with advanced materials. So that was my memory from, the last century. How would you describe the positioning now? Because if we'd been talking 2 years ago, I'd have raised an eyebrow and said, really comfy. But then after 2 years in which all I think about is T-shirts, pockets, and, fitting my frame, it's as if the world has come to you. So who are you for, and where do you fit into the landscape now of performance, comfort? Where does it fit in?
So we always start in everything we do with our customer. And the clothing is less for, outdoorsy or activity. It is made to fit and made to comfort our customers. And our customers are, is a customer who is well established, is a customer who is very social, is out there. They do love the outdoors. They are very particular about quality. They are about versatility and functionality. And for this customer, we actually design clothing. It is to help our customer to feel comfortable in the world, and that's through the clothing, but also in general. And that also takes us into the mindset of the customer, giving the mind also comfort, as in sustainability of the clothing, as a company being inclusive and supporting diversity, being engaged with our communities with a comfort fund, where we engage in causes that are very dear to us. Right now, it's the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we are engaging in all countries we operate in breast cancer charities. Our CEO is participating in climbing Mount Kilimanjaro to support the cause. As an organization, our employees engage with him in counting steps and then also contributing to charity. But we're also very much about one warm coat and helping people who are in need to really be equipped for winter, don't suffer, particularly people who are out there sleeping rough. So there's various different causes that we are supporting in our comfort fund to really make this a 360 approach of a comfortable world, and Land's End at the center of creating that comfortable world.
Great. Well, listen, I've got so many questions coming out of that. I'm going to try and cover off all of them. Before I dive into sustainability, inclusion, I also talk to you about the move to an online business from a traditional heritage catalogue or mail order business. So much to cover off, but it would be wrong if we didn't ask a bit about you and your background in retail. So I know you've been the CEO there for a while, but just give us a thumbnail sketch of how you arrived at Land's End.
So my very first job has been in serving customers. I was merely 14 years old, first job in a cafe, and that stuck with me. And I've always worked in support and serving customer. So I started after university. I started my career with Procter and Gamble in marketing, learned and had a wonderful education in marketing, really seeing and developing product from a customer centric point of view, also very fact based view, to then serve the customer best. Moved into a few years of consulting, both in Europe and the US, and then worked with an international retail company, also in a strategic customer and marketing role. Came over to London and worked with a luxury designer outlet center in a slightly different role, because now I was a little removed from the direct customer contact. So that was a very, very good learning, how to impact the customer, how to serve the customer where you're not directly owning the customer, but running a center. And then I moved into an exciting strategy, customer facing top line responsibility with Hudson's Bay in Europe, and joined Land's End as the managing director in 2019.
Good timing as well in terms of being ready for pandemics. So, talk about jumping into the fire. Now, given that you've covered off property, so whether it's Hudson's Bay or MacArthur Glen, and you're now in a direct selling brand, are there any changes, differences from being a brand that you think are massive advantages? So if you had a magic wand, would you be a brand? Would you be a retail park owner? Or would you be a retailer? Which of those three do you think is the most interesting, and why?
All three are customer facing, so that is important. All three have certainly advantages and are very, very exciting business models. Right now, I am very happy to work in a leading e-commerce business with direct customer access. It's just very, very fulfilling to be able to directly work with and for customer and deliver great customer journey experience for our customers, and see the engagement of our customers grow. With so many more active customers compared to previous years, and we have enriched our customer journey on our core platform to an extent where we are looking into what is the real world, the brick and mortar retail process. What is it going to look like when a customer comes into the store? What type of experience do they have? And we are enriching the certainly very efficient and beneficial online experience with those experiences translated into the virtual reality using AI. For example, to give that experience to our customer, to see collections, to see patterns across categories, to get those recommendations, to have those moments of excitement and inspiration while surfing and browsing and then engaging on our online in our online shop.
So we've been doing quite a lot of research into that direct to consumer experience. And one of the interesting things is the customer's always pretty quick to tell you when things aren't joined up, or, something lacks coherence, or there's too much friction, or something's absent. But when we ask them, what is it that amazes you about a digital experience, we get a sort of shrug saying, well, it's just kind of all right. So, what's your feedback from your customers? What's working with them that you could say, Ian, don't be cynical. This is where the customer really gets something extra, a little je ne sais quoi from that interaction with us.
Yeah, one of the things I love about e-commerce and leading an e-commerce company is the real-time feedback from customer and really seeing customer directly engage. We hear different things from our customers, and our NPS is strong and growing. We invest a lot in terms of understanding our customer as well as in UX technology processes to enable further, improvement in our customer journey for the customer. And throughout the year, there's certainly feedback on the product. There's a lot of lovely feedback. You find a lot of feedback on right now cashmere, for example. So I'm wearing cashmere. I just think it's a wonderful fabric. It's one of those 100% nature fabrics that we offer that the customer loves in Lens, and it's very soft and really serve the purpose of let's get comfy. And we've many customers commenting, oh, I bought another cardigan, another traditional style. But we're also enlarging and enhancing the range into relaxed cashmere, catering to the lounge market, with lounge pants, with relaxed types of hoodies and wider tops. Customers really feeding back on how they love the product, but they also let us know what they don't like. Some time ago, they fed back that they didn't like our price transparency. Of course, we run promotions on the website. They could never see that until they checked out. Not an uncommon journey on a website, but we took our customer for the word and we changed it, and we have introduced price clarity on our websites for all promotions we run for our recommended retail price. So customer fully sees all the actual pricing since I want to say October last year, and this is still quite differentiating. The customer is also checking in on product availability with us. So I think that exchange is very, very important for us also to always further improve the experience we give our customers and continue to be a leading and state of the art e-commerce player.
And when you look across Europe, again, the last time I think we had any major contact with Land's End, I remember, I could be wrong, so correct me, that the UK and Germany were the two biggest markets within Europe, and they had very much taken Land's End, to their hearts, stable, active customer base. Tracking forward to now, how does the European landscape look? Do you have strong countries? Are there regional differences? Just give us a view and what you draw from any differences.
So our European business is the UK and mainland Europe. And as we've set up in the UK and then, expanded into Germany 2 years later, those two markets are still our most prominent markets. However, we have business in France and we have further international mainland Europe business. So the business is certainly, extending its reach, mainly also through channels. Where we used to be a e-commerce owned web shop business, we are now extending and operating and trading onto various marketplaces. And that is a global strategy that also here in Europe we are implementing. in a very focused and fast way. So we have engaged with a partner in mainland Europe, Xtrade. They are a service provider for us. We aim to go live on about 7 marketplaces on mainland Europe, now live on 3 marketplaces, and those include Zalando, Otto. We are live on Amazon, and we're looking at further exposure through marketplaces, really to reach our customer where they like to shop. And that is our existing customers as much as future customers who we believe will also enjoy the brand and engage with our positioning.
And we mentioned the customer and customer data. One of the resistances felt in the past by brands going to marketplaces was about getting consumer data. So through the marketplaces, or then providing coherence across marketplaces. How are you approaching maintaining your view of the customer wherever she might shop? Is that something that is now a solved problem, or still something that takes a lot of work?
Operating on a marketplace is different than operating on an owned web shop, on an owned platform. I think marketplace is a very good and next step for the business to further develop the brand and reach so many more customers. And as you can appreciate, I mean, we have a growing and double-digit growing customer base for our own business. Not everyone likes to shop on and that's for different reasons, right? Some prefer to shop on Zalando because they might have a loyalty program and might prefer just how Otto looks like. And we do want to be there for our customers. As Lands End is all about customer, we want to be there. We want to be out there and really give every customer, potential in future, an opportunity to engage with the brand.
Yes. Now, you mentioned cashmere earlier on, and that brings me on to sustainability. So it's such a big topic area now throughout the whole supply chain, materials production, distribution. It's being covered justifiably a great deal. So tell us a bit about your work in sustainability. When as retailers, we have the, if you like, the ironic position of wanting to be sustainable yet still sell things. So tell us about your sustainability, and then whether this was driven by your own values first, or the customer, or both. So let's just hear a bit more about that, please.
It's a topic that we internally discuss a lot. We have a sustainability council. We've had a sustainability council for years within the business to drive the topic internally. Really, I think it started from both ends. Certainly, our customer demands sustainability, but it was also intrinsically driven by the values of the company. And we have put a quite ambitious sustainability agenda into place that we are striving to achieve. And that includes completely sustainable, water saving, denim production, bleaching. It involves 100% organically sourced cotton, and it goes into using insulation materials that are fully recycled. Right now, the cover item in our October campaign is a parka where the insulated filling is from 10 plastic bottles. And it's a wonderful piece of sustainable clothing, and customer reacts very well to everything that we do in terms of sustainability. It is a journey. And I think we have to be very realistic that you can't be sustainability from today to tomorrow. You can't switch all the, sourcing processes and productions and partners we work with within short term. It's a longer term journey, but the agenda we set ourselves until 2025 is a very ambitious agenda and does lead the company into broad sustainability across the entire assortment. Sustainability, however, goes much further in Lands End than just the product and the assortment. It is in our everyday life as a member of the community. So, make an example: our premises here in Oakham are fully vetted as a sustainable premises. We are just investing in more solar panels to give back to the community and also feed clean energy into the grid. We are right now considering to ramp up electric power stations for electric cars in our parking lot, also making that available for the community here in Oakham and surroundings. We are zero landfill as an organization here in Oakham. So we go so much wider in sustainability and really see this again as a full 360 approach. And I think this is very much Land's End, not just to zoom in, not just being about product or even one product or one product line, but really holistically approaching a topic and then fully delivering in its entirety.
It sounds like quite an amazing commitment to it, and very impressive. And I'm going to check out that jacket, actually. I remember wandering around a place in New York where we saw things made of bottles. So I'm looking forward to seeing your version of it. But how do you balance off the desire to make yourself as sustainable as possible and also kind of do the day job, which is keep those that rate of growth going up? Is it one or the other, or are they hand in hand?
They must be hand in hand. That is my conviction. It won't work if it's one or the other. It just has to be a way of working, a way of living, a way of being part of this community, and also a way of engaging with our customer. From a being part of the community facility management point of view, that's something that is regularly on the agenda. We review what else we can do from an energy consumption point of view, greener energy. How can we give back to the community? So we're driving this forward in our day to day in managing our premises here in Oakham as well as in our offices in Europe. From an assortment point of view, we have typically requests. We have a wonderful team of merchandisers here who go out, who look into the market, who understand our customers, supported by our analytics team. And then they would reach out to our design team with pretty much ideas how we want to drive our collection forward in a joint effort with our global team. They would come up with the ranges for the future collections, and then it is down to our great and very very effective sourcing team to make that all happen, to give us parkas that are made out of 10 plastic bottles, to do denim bleaching without actually using any water. And it's about engaging with partners. It is not necessarily always our own intelligence and capability, but it is about engaging with partners. As you can appreciate, we are sourcing from everywhere in the world, so it is finding that best partner also to work with us on jointly reaching our goals in sustainability until 2025.
So I guess that the customer is telling you that this all is working for them because they're buying lots of those parkas and jeans and all that sort of stuff. But do they give you voluntarily a lot of information to say, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And if so, how do you blend that into everything that you do? Because that must be quite tough to do that.
Yeah, we have a very rigorous process of building customer feedback into revisiting processes, assortment, and then building our assortment and making our processes more efficient. We do get some feedback on sustainability from our customers, and whenever we do, we certainly will consider this. And again, this is our team who feeds back into the design team on collections here. We will use that feedback to feedback. Yes, absolutely.
So we've covered sustainability in depth, and the passion and focus there is amazing. But you did also talk about inclusion. Tell us a bit more about that and what steps you have to take to actively include people and why.
Inclusion was one of the principles Gary Comer built our brand on. It has always been about the employees, about being inclusive, and that was then also extended into our customer. It was more like a from within inclusion. And we now also built this over the past years in a broader agenda of inclusiveness and diversity, also reflecting what's happened in the world. And you will see in how we use photography and models that we are trying to really portray a world, a reality that is out there. We are really going with real life models. We had a wonderful Mom and Me campaign where we actually brought in models and their mothers who never have modeled. They even brought in their sisters, and it was a wonderful family moment that we captured on camera for our campaigns, for our social media. And this is who we are as Land's End. We are very authentic. We are very close to our customers, and we move further and further into that, very real life, authentic portrayal of, our assortment, our clothing, our brand in context of the real world. And I think that
Yes.
is very, very important for our customers as well, to move away from that artificial world of models into a world where they see the product on people and in situations that they can actually relate to.
Indeed, especially if we're talking about function and fit at the same time as
That is
representation. So very
absolutely
interesting.
true. And it's all about the beauty from within. Everyone is beautiful and everybody is beautiful. And we're really celebrating this when we showcase our new collections on a variety of different, people
Mm.
in all shapes and forms, and in the way they come, and it's beautiful. It's wonderful moments that we capture on camera.
That's lovely. Well, listen, I'm going to ask you now about, we're talking about such lovely things. I'm going to ask you what's been difficult. So 2019 seems like a different world, let alone 2 years ago. So during your time in charge there, there's been a number of external happenings that will have challenged the business, your customers, your supply chain partners. It's been a challenging time, as well as the many initiatives that you've been working on. Things like sustainability aren't simple programs. So, if you reflect on the last 2 years, what's been the most challenging thing for you steering Land's End through this period of growth and time of tribulations?
So, as a global company, I think and feel we have managed to get through the many, many challenges we had in a way that, we all came out the other end motivated, positive, and even, with some wonderful gains and developments for the company. It has been a challenge, though. Absolutely, to lead a team through those times. And I do want to say that, there were moments where we certainly had to take decisions, and we did as a company. We're always very nimble. We always were very reactive to situations in a way that we reacted when we needed to appreciate a situation, but also taking opportunity. And there were many opportunities for us on the way as well, and we were fast and reactive enough to take all those opportunities and take some risk in this time to move the business forward. Most time during the past 1.5 years went into speaking to the team, communicating, making sure we understand what they feel, what they need, as in support, how we can best help them to settle in a new situation, how to best get through times of months of lockdown in winter. I think this is really where Land's End put a lot of emphasis, and where myself and our leadership team here in Europe put a lot of emphasis to make sure that we get our team through these very adverse and challenging times in a way that they still felt supported, that we kept the positive, drive, and we also maintained the wonderful culture we have in the business.
Good. Well, that sounds like hard work, but again, very much on brand. Cheering up a bit and hoping that we have no more lockdowns ahead, and the vaccines will spread to everyone and work. Let's look with hope and happiness towards 2022. What are you up to that you're thinking, I can't wait to do this, or my favorite project at the moment is X or Y? What are you looking forward to for next year?
A few things. One is we just had our grand reopening of our headquarters here, and that is the business part. Our DC has always been up and running, as you can imagine. So we rebuilt our office into a true place of collaboration, a meeting space for teams, and team building. I'm looking forward to actually bringing back teams. It is a journey again. Everyone has kind of settled in, work from home. We do very, very much appreciate all the benefits from working from home, but we do believe that it is also time to come back together in person, particularly for collaboration, for social engagement, for team building opportunities. And that's a journey I'm very much looking forward to seeing, more of the teams coming back, being here in the office, and really starting to physically also work together. We have built the office in a way that we can fully accommodate a digital way of collaboration across hybrid teams. So that's something that I'm very, very excited to see. And we're working hard to bring back our teams here in a way that we truly can live the best of both worlds. Work from home with all its efficiencies and all the comfort, but also coming back to the office for collaboration and meeting again. That's one. And two, our growth path for Europe is purely digital and mainly, focuses on further building our web shop, our core platform, evolving into Lands End as marketplace. And that, we
Ooh.
hope that this will happen next year. We're building capabilities and also bringing on other brands to enrich the experience on our own web shop and platform. And then certainly marketplaces is a third pillar where we heavily based, growth expectations on, and where we have great expectations for further penetrating into Europe and building the business and reaching many more customers.
Busy year.
Well, I love that last bit that you said about the marketplace on your own site. That I was going to ask a question was, which exciting new things are you going to bring to your website? So that's definitely falls into that category. But is there anything else you could tell us from a sort of customer side, bringing us back to you and your background and your focus throughout your career? Any sort of exciting updates you're going to see on the website that's going to make shopping even better for your customers?
Absolutely. We will never tire to further enrich and enhance and optimize the customer journey. We will further exploit opportunities that provide itself through artificial intelligence. We will further leverage artificial intelligence and giving a richer and even more targeted and individualized experience to our customer. We will further build brick and mortar experience, retail experience into our virtual customer journey. We are also working on things that are, more targeted to individual behavior of customers. Dynamic promo, very, very important. Really giving the customer what they need to engage, in a way that they feel most comfortable with to take this forward. We're also looking into my account as a function and how we can build this into an even stronger place of, meeting and engaging with the customer. That will be a big project for us. We have a high number of customers signing in via my account anyway, so we do feel that this is a great opportunity for us to move ahead also in an environment where it seems that we need to build that capability from within to engage with the customer on our website, and we will put a lot of thinking into how we're building this further. We have a much broader portfolio of channels for our marketing, which we will continue to build also through partners. It's not quite ready to announce yet, but we will engage with a partner on mainland Europe, which will be a great marketing collaboration, and very happy to talk about this in a potential future
You're teasing
talk.
us. You're teasing us.
So that will further also evolve our portfolio of digital marketing channels and partners to, again, reach customers in different stages of the journey, and also different customer groups.
Wow. Well, we did ask, and now we know why you've been successful and why you're busy next year. Susan, Constance, thank you so much for joining us in the studio. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I love the mix of the fact that we're going from integrity and the founder's intention 1 minute to AI and optimization at the next. So we've definitely covered all the bases, ticking off marketplaces and sustainability and inclusion as well. I mean, I think you've written my next 10 articles for me, Constance. Thanks so much for that. And best wishes with trading carrying on.